You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to discuss this whole Spider-Man MCU Sony debacle that happened last week with the leaks from Sony. And we all know that because of these leaks, a lot of information came out, a lot of things regarding other movies and other entertainment-related subjects. But in this particular video, I want to focus on the Spider-Man thing because this has been going on even before the leaks. There was a lot of speculation, a lot of articles that were out talking about how MCU and Sony were negotiating a way to get Spider-Man into Civil War. And of course, because of these leaks, we found out that that was very true. They did have negotiations. They fell through. Nothing panned out. But unfortunately now, because of these this hack and these leaks, it seems like Sony's really up shit's creek without a paddle. And it's unfortunate. I really like Sony. I love the company in general. I mean, there was a time where you wouldn't even think twice about buying their products. There was a time where obviously the PlayStation was the #1 supremacy in video games. And, you know, now things have changed. And while the video game company portion of the company is still doing very well, there's other portions of the company that's suffering. And now something like this just does not help. So what do I think is going to happen out of this whole Spider-Man thing? Well, I mean, we all know that there's supposed to be a big meeting happening in January regarding the future of Spider-Man, the franchise, in terms of Sony and what they're doing with it. And if the big executives in Japan, the ones that really run the company, do not feel that their United States subsidiaries that run Sony for the US have a good plan, have a good idea, they're going to force a deal to have Sony send Spider-Man back to Marvel. And at least that's what I've read. That's what I've heard, you know, from in terms of how the leaks went. You know, either way, obviously, the way things are right now, this is probably the best chance you'll ever get to have Spider-Man go back to Marvel. And I really don't know what they could do in January in such a short span of time to really impress the executives in Japan, because some of the leaks, some of the rumors we've heard of their movie ideas before do not sound that great. I mean, there was a rumor of even a solo Aunt May movie, which obviously would not float. Now, don't get me wrong, that's probably not a true story. That could be a lie as well. But just to give you an example, you know, they're obviously trying to come up with new ways to entertain. Even outside of the Spider-Man universe, briefly, we all heard about the Men in Black and 21 Jump Street crossover, which I gotta be honest, I think that would be a complete mess. While the Men in Black movie have been fun for the most part, and I really enjoy 21 Jump Street. I haven't seen 22 Jump Street yet, but I'll get around to it. I just don't think they go together. I just don't. So, but I really think that at the end of the day, here's how I think things should go, how I think things will go down after this Spider-Man meeting. If the executives in Japan decide to let them hold on to Spider-Man and do a series, I really think they should avoid rebooting. I really do. Because when they rebooted the first time, they already turned off a lot of people. More so the hardcore fans, not really the general audience. The general audience, I think, was more confused as to why they were rebooting something that just to them literally ended. But I think from the fan base, the fan base very much loves Sam Raimi, very much loves Tobey Maguire. And even the fan base, the hardcore fans thought it was too soon. So I think it would be bad for them to scrap what they're doing now and then reboot the series again. I just don't think that'll float. I think they should continue to run with what they have. You know, they had a bad second movie. That happens to a lot of, look, hey, you're not going to get them all right. You know, I thought the first Amazing Spider-Man was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought the second one, I could understand why people hated it. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have fun watching the movie, but that doesn't mean it was a great movie. You know, I definitely feel the first one was better. But just because those two movies or that second movie didn't do so well, I mean, financially it did fine. I don't think they should scrap the series. I think they should continue with what their plans are, because I think if you're going to pick the lesser of two evils, pick the one that's going to piss people off less. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think your plans are not that great going forward with the Sinister Six thing, I'm not too sure rebooting the series will help. So rather than that, just put everything you got into the Sinister Six and these other plans, but make it good. Get good writers. Make the story compelling. So that's if they keep it. That's if they're lucky enough to keep it. I personally don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. But if they happen not to keep it, then, yeah, I think that Spider-Man going to Marvel is a big deal. Obviously, Marvel's proven that they don't need him to be very, very good, but this is just pretty much going to solidify their supremacy in the comic book movie industry. I wouldn't see too much that DC could do to top that, without really coming out balls deep with some great stories and some really, really, and it's not to say that DC movies are going to be garbage. They're not. I can't wait to see Batman versus Superman. But, when you add Spider-Man to the mix, that's the flagship. I mean, just recently, I think last month, 2 or 3 comic books from Spider-Man were in the top 5 selling comics for the month. So he's still very, very popular character. Now, I think that if Marvel Cinematic Universe does get Spider-Man, I think they're going to have a whole different Captain America movie for the Civil War, because my speculation has been that the Civil War movie that they're planning now, currently, is just going to be a watered down version of the comic book story, focusing mainly on Tony and Steve Rogers and their butting heads. But if you throw Spider-Man into the mix, then you can pull a lot more story from that comic book than you could before. And so I think if Spidey comes over and he makes his debut in Civil War, it's going to be a pretty big impact, and it's going to be a pretty big movie to boot. So, but we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I think one way or another, Marvel is probably in the driver's seat right now. I don't know what Sony of America can do to woo the Japanese executives into convincing them to keep the character and move forward with it, where I think some of the Japanese executives are so like, look, we can get a bundle of money for sending this guy back to Marvel. Let's back up let's cut our losses, send him over, and let's move on. And I think that Sony America would have to blow away the executives with an excellent idea for the character for them to consider keeping it. And unfortunately, with the exception of The Amazing Spider-Man, ever since they dabbled in the creativity of the movies, which, obviously led to the third Spider-Man movie with Sam Raimi and the Venom, it's just been kind of downhill from there. And, like I said, Amazing Spider-Man was great, but it's not better than obviously some of the first Spider-Man. I mean, it's not. It's not. I enjoyed it for different reasons. I kind of see them as different movies. But, that trilogy with Tobey Maguire, maybe with the exception of the third movie, was really, really good. And, there's rumors now that they're trying to get Sam Raimi back. I don't know how that's going to flow. I don't know if it might be too little too late. I don't know if the Japanese executives, if that's true, I don't know if that's going to convince them to give it another chance. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do think that, I do kind of feel bad for Sony. Sony's a great company. I've had a lot of fun with their products and obviously the PlayStations. Their TVs are fantastic, but wow, they really hit rock bottom now. And, look, I'd be lying if I said I did not want Spider-Man to be back at MCU. And already they said that if they were to get him and reboot the series, they wouldn't do an origin. They pretty much go straight into him being Spider-Man, which I think is a smart move. So they're kind of licking their chops already. They're kind of waiting at the bit, to see what goes down. And from what I understand, Kevin Feige is going to be at this Spider-Man summit. So, or whatever they call it, this meeting to talk about the characters. So he's probably going to be there to be ready to catch Spider-Man once, if and when the Japanese executives decide to toss him out the window. So I would say keep your ears open, keep your eyes peeled. Maybe January can be some big news for the MCU and the Spider-Man character. And, we'll see what happens. And hopefully, if they do keep the character, Sony, hopefully they have some great ideas going forward. But I don't think they should reboot the series, in my opinion. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on the whole situation? What would you like to see happen? Would you like to see Spider-Man go back to the MCU? Would you like to see Sony have one more stab at it and go forward with what they had planned and just concentrate on making it good instead of making it a spectacle? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Anyway, guys, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit E.T.N's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description.